It all began in the heart of Africa about 6 million years ago. In a world of dense forests that were beginning to give way to savannas, a group of primates made a decision that would change the fate of the Earth. They stood up. Australopithecus was among the first to test this new perspective, still retaining the agility to climb trees. But it was with Australopithecus afarensis, like the famous Lucy, that bipedalism took hold. By freeing their hands, our ancestors weren't just walking, they were preparing to grasp the future. These beings weren't human like us, but they possessed the spark of adaptation. As the climate shifted and resources grew scarce, they learned to read the landscape, identify dangers, and survive in an unforgiving environment where every upright step was an act of rebellion against extinction. If standing upright was the first revolution, picking up a stone and turning it into a tool was the second. About 2.5 million years ago, Homo habilis emerged, the handyman. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but they had a brain that was beginning to conceive complex ideas. With flaked stones, they cracked open bones to reach the nutrient-rich marrow, drastically changing their diet. It was no longer just about surviving, it was about thriving in a new way. And with this new diet came the fuel for an even larger brain. Then about 1.8 million years ago, Homo erectus appeared. They were the true pathfinders, the first to venture out of Africa, spreading across Asia and Europe. But their greatest innovation wasn't a tool, it was the mastery of fire. Fire provided warmth, protection from predators, and the ability to cook food, making it easier to digest. Crucially, it created a gathering point, a social hub. Around the hearth, stories began to be told and ideas were shared. Fire didn't just warm their bodies, it ignited the spark of human culture. With Homo erectus, the world began to feel smaller and more connected, setting the stage for what was to come. While Homo erectus mastered the frontiers, geographical isolation created distinct paths. In the frozen lands of Europe, the Neanderthals emerged, robust, adapted to extreme cold, and the first to bury their dead with rituals, revealing a glimmer of spirituality. They weren't brutes, they were resilient survivors who mastered complex stone tools and cared for their wounded. Meanwhile, in the African savannas, a new lineage was taking shape. Us, Homo sapiens. Our advantage wasn't physical strength, but symbolic language and the ability to collaborate in large groups. About 70,000 years ago, we began our global expansion. When we reached Europe, the encounter was inevitable. For thousands of years, we shared the same territory, exchanged genes, and competed for resources. But while our Neanderthal cousins slowly disappeared, we began to paint cave walls, transforming the fear of the unknown into art and memory. Our minds had awakened to the abstract, and the world would never be the same. The greatest revolution in our history wasn't fought with weapons, but with seeds. About 12,000 years ago, the Earth's climate stabilized, and Homo sapiens discovered they could control the cycle of life. By domesticating plants and animals, we were no longer hostages to chance. Agriculture anchored us to the land. We are Homo sapiens. Unlike any other species, we don't just adapt to nature, we transform it through our creations. Over millennia, we mastered agriculture to take root, metallurgy to shape the world, and the printing press to spread thought. These great inventions were the stepping stones that brought us to our current phase. Today, we live at the pinnacle of data transmission. We have managed to convert reality into electricity and code, allowing knowledge to travel across the planet in milliseconds. The physical proof of this evolution is right before you. Whether through a liquid crystal display, a smartphone, or a monitor, you are consuming this video through one of the most complex architectures ever conceived by the human mind: digital information processing. The device you hold or the screen you watch is the direct heir to the first stone tool, refined by centuries of science and engineering.